All right, everybody. I want to welcome everybody to the Shahs Rewatch with our dirties. And the first dirty we'd be remiss if we didn't have Lisa Foster on. She's always been our biggest supporter, our number one fan, so to speak. And I just want to say, Lisa, from the bottom of my heart, we appreciate you. It's an honor to have you here to rewatch this, you know, train wreck, as they would call it, with
I'm
my wife.
extremely honored.
Okay,
Honored to be here.
good. We're happy to have you. I just finished watching the first episode of Shahs. I've never seen it before. I might have maybe seen bits and pieces, not even bits and pieces, because a lot of what I just watched was very new to me.
That had to be really wild for you.
Yeah, it was. Um, First off, my wife is beautiful. She really is.
Okay,
She
to
really
that
is.
point,
She's a foxy chick, man. You forget because you see someone all the time, and you take them for
I
granted a little bit. She really was she really was she still is. Don't get me wrong. She still
she
is. I
still
don't want
is.
to, but like I just haven't seen that. Or I didn't see that ever. And on TV, she really looks like a knockout. That's
So
first.
this was my very first I took notes, right,
Okay,
while I was
good, good, good.
watching.
I would expect
My
nothing less
very
than you.
my very first note is that I immediately, when I saw MJ, thought, this is Disney's Princess Jasmine come to life.
Yeah, she's
A hundred
beautiful. She
percent.
is. She's beautiful. She's intoxicating to look at.
She
Um,
really is.
Now, how did you start to watch Shot? Because that's the other thing. Like the place and time of this, I could kind of tell that this is that not just Shah's, right? But Bravo
Right.
is new. Like this is new. Um, you could see
Yeah.
now a little bit of a template that they use for all their shows. But this is very new. Like they didn't know kind of what they were doing yet. It's the same reason that, they really push the opulence of it when I'll be honest with you, none of these people are rich. None of these people were ever rich. I'm not saying they're broke, but none of them
They're
are
not, yeah,
rich.
they're not broke.
Yeah, but the what they're pushing out there is not true. First off, you have to understand a lot of the Persians that have the money that they're trying to convey that these kids or these people have. They're not kids. These are all fucking fully functional adults, but they're presenting them like it's the Jersey Shore. But
I have a note, by the way, later about the Jersey Shore.
yeah, but one of the first things that like come to like the Persians that have that kind of money aren't doing a reality television show,
They're not on the show.
especially when this show came out because now you might have more of a shot because Bravo is a something, right?
Yes.
Bravo leads to other
Yes.
things. I don't necessarily know if it has the same stigma attached. Now you have, especially with the housewife shows, you have people tripping over themselves to try and get on one of these shows. That really
Right.
wasn't the case back then, especially for like the Persian community is a small community. And when you go, but it's layered, right? Like the more money you go up, the more
Yes.
small that community gets. And they weren't um the people that really that they're trying to talk like with the private jets and like the sick
The
car.
one percenters, the two
Yeah,
percenters.
weren't going to do this show. So this is like the next best that they could get. And
Well, to
that's
answer
one of the
your
first things that,
question,
that that jumps out to me.
you'll be very surprised at how I started to watch this. The only reality show my mother watches was The Shahs.
Okay.
She said, Lisa, there's this show and they're just like us. And I'm like, what do you mean they're just like us? And she was not referring to the parties with the tigers or anything like that, but she was referring to, uh, so we're Italian, and she's like, they they value tradition and food and the culture she
The family
felt was
dynamic.
very similar. And so I started watching it and I fell in love with it.
Now, were you a reality fan prior to? Because you are
I'm
now,
trying,
right? Like you're a
I'm,
big reality fan now. You watch.
I,
What do you watch? What's in your
I'm
wheelhouse?
selective. I don't watch all of Bravo. The
Oh,
shows I
really?
watch
Okay.
are Beverly Hills,
Okay.
Jersey, also very much parallels the New York Italian experience that I have. Um, so Beverly Hills, Jersey. Um, I've seen a few seasons of the OC, but I really pretty much stuck to Jersey, Beverly Hills, and the Shahs.
Well, yeah. Little background about you. You're in Pittsburgh, right?
I'm in a suburb of Pittsburgh now.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I mean, yes, to answer your question. Yeah,
So,
I'm
how
in
long have you
Pittsburgh.
lived there?
Oh, I've lived since high school.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
you've been. So yeah, that's so.
So,
So it's for you. It's kind of getting an introduction to these worlds. I could definitely see why you'd have. Why you'd be interested in Jersey. My wife loves Jersey too. It's always been one of her favorites.
yeah.
So you don't necessarily watch like if they make a housewife show, are you giving it a shot from jump?
Oh, yes. Wait, I lied. I I've watched every season of Salt Lake City,
Okay.
and I can't believe I forgot these. Maybe because they're new. Dubai. I'm watching
Okay.
Dubai
My
now.
wife likes Dubai
Um,
too.
yeah, I'm watching Dubai. I have a relative that actually lives in Dubai, so pretty interesting for me to see that. I just really
What about
connected with the Shahs and with Jersey. My mother, my sister, and I are the only members of my family in Pittsburgh. Every relative I have is between Long Island, Staten Island, Brooklyn, Buffalo, upstate, all over the state of New York. So I'm one of three people that lives here. I went back to New York and still do to this day all the time. So I feel like it's even though I've lived here a long time, it's in my blood. You know what I mean?
gotcha?
I get to go back all the time.
Now,
So it's
what
really
about
cool.
Vanderpump?
No.
Yeah, listen,
I
I
watched, I was one of the people that got reeled in and sucked into the whole Sandoval thing.
okay.
Um, and
I think the
I
president
watched,
did. I think everybody
I
got
have
sucked into Scandal at some point on some
to see
level.
it.
On some level. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what? Interestingly, Vanderpump I gave it a shot before the Scandal.
Okay.
And it just wasn't doing anything for me. And I stopped watching it. And then then I picked it up again with Scandal. But I do love the Valley.
Okay.
I
Okay.
just finished the Valley.
Okay. And you like it. You're in.
I like that. I could see you two on the Valley.
Okay. My wife would be happy to hear that.
Oh yeah.
All right. So
I
now
love
it's
the Valley.
all right, good, good. She likes it a lot too. She likes it a lot too. I'm not the biggest fan of Jax. I gotta be honest with you. Uh,
Me either.
yeah, I'm not. He doesn't. I like. I
I
don't.
love Brittany.
Okay, okay.
She's sweet.
Poor girl. That poor girl. But as far as Shaw's is concerned, so we're doing the rewatch. We're gonna take,
Yeah.
I'm gonna every week we're gonna sit down with a fan or one of our dirties, and we're gonna go through the episode in order. We started with one. We just did the first one. I just watched the first one, and um, it was it was interesting because I already know how the race ends. You know what I mean? Like I already know what the finish line kind of looks like.
Me
And
too.
and it was it was definitely, I could see why the show got popular um because when you compare it to some of these other shows like that you just mentioned, that's the template. Like that's the template. That like the other shows that you've mentioned all start the same way. They all do this, they all kind of have the same cookie cutter aspect to it. And Shahs was a pioneer to that. Like they were the one of the first ones. And so it's interesting on that level. But what'd you think? Were you hooked from one? Were you hooked from the first episode?
Immediately.
Mm.
Immediately. The personalities are, whether you love them or hate the people, they're so charismatic. You can't wait to hear what they say next for the entertainment value of it all,
And they're strong. Everybody on there has a very strong personality. They didn't.
Yes.
I know if you guys have listened to the Till the Dirt. For anyone out there that hasn't, we have my wife and I have a podcast, Till the Dirt. It covers our relationship, our marriage, how it all started, and how we got where we got. And one of the episodes that we did was with Jesse. Jesse was the guy who originally cast the show, who came up with the idea, went out there with a handheld camera and shot everything and cast everybody. And he really did an exceptional job with finding the right people for the show because they, they knew each other. But to say that they were all lifelong friends is definitely a big exaggeration. But they definitely all knew each other. And to pick, it's a difficult thing to do is to walk into a room where 100 people know each other and pick out the 5 people that are most interesting. That's a hard thing to do. And it wasn't as easy as that. Like they had to go find everybody. So I was really
Well, they
impressed.
nailed it.
Yeah,
They
I
nailed
was.
it for the most part.
And Sammy is the epicenter. And that's the funny thing to it. Like I could tell, like to Bravo, that's not the guy. You know what I mean? He's
So
he's not
here's
easy
my
on the
take.
eyes, and he's not, I know Sammy. I know Sammy. Sammy is still one of our very dear friends. Sammy's probably my best friend of her friends. I feel like he put a lot of act on for television. And I think that you know, like that whole real estate scene, that's all nonsense. That's all BS. That house was never being sold.
It
Reza never
wasn't
had a buyer for
convincing.
3 million. That half-ass bullshit negotiation that went down on the roof was all like so. Like that's the
That's
things
fine.
that I kind of pick apart of it. But who was your favorite?
But
Would you?
well, for people, but I
Yeah,
just want
tell
to
me
speak
from
on
your vantage
Sammy
point.
for a second.
Yeah.
So for people that don't know that, my opinion, episode 1, even though I know how the race ends, I was able to really compartmentalize episode 1. He comes off as, like, in my opinion, Sammy and MJ were sort of like the nice guys of the group. They weren't the mean girl personalities in episode 1. But like MJ still has humor, edge. She's got the quick comebacks. Interesting. Sammy was just a nice guy. Not enough sustenance. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
Like,
I know.
like
Put
he
it
could be a friend of.
put it this way. He doesn't get that entrance. Where everybody else gets the
Right.
entrance. I'm Reza. I did this. I'm from here. I'm Gigi. I'm from here. This is me. Sammy doesn't get that. He's
Yeah.
just kind of brought in. And again, I know because I know he was the first guy cast. He was the first one. He's the nucleus that everybody else is supposed to bounce off of. But I could tell Shah's Bravo or the production company, because these shows a lot of times are put together in post, meaning after everything's gone down. So they've shot everything, they've got all the footage, and now we got to make a story. And I think he kind of fell on the chopping block once they had everything. It was kind of like the story's not there. The stories with this firecracker, Gigi, the stories with MJ, like you said, who just is hilarious. And then you get 2 seconds with the mother, and it's like, oh, no wonder this bitch is damaged. And Reza, you know what I mean, who's trying to be like
made for TV. Reza was made for TV.
In a fucking laboratory. Because again, we can't diminish the fact of when this all happened, right? Jersey Shore, because I only know, again, from speaking to Jesse, Jersey Shore was a thing. Jersey Shore was like, and when Jersey Shore at its like at its original, at its vertex or vortex, at its highest peak, was a real big thing, and these other networks were trying to capitalize on it. So they like were like, all right, let's try. MTV had a show called Russian Dolls that was like, the Russian community. So they did, let's do Persians in LA, right? So there wasn't really a lot of, you know, benchmarks or comparatives like like
Yeah,
now. If
I was
you're
going
going
to
to go
say
on,
this is the
if you were going to
sorry.
go on Beverly Hills, though, right? If they said, Lisa, we want you on Beverly Hills, you've now seen enough Beverly Hills housewives in your life that you'd have an idea of what you need to do before to go on that show. You know what I mean? You'd have an idea. I need some witty comebacks. I need to have this room look nice. You'd have an idea. My only point is there was no boilerplate for these people to go off of, but Reza hit the fucking ground running, dude. Like he knew
Oh, he did.
exactly what he was supposed to do. He understood the assignment, as they're supposed to say. Like right away, he grabbed the bull by the horns,
It's
and
a
you
good
could
way to
tell,
put it. Yeah.
yeah, that he like even in that episode that we watched, when Sammy comes down, they go into the restaurant, and Sammy kind of, not argues, but asks Mike to get up from that seat, because in his mind, he's the lead of the show.
He
I'm
was like
supposed
the
to sit,
Don.
yeah,
Right.
I'm supposed to
I'm
sit in
here,
this
you get
seat
up.
because everybody here knows me. It's all through me, right? That's not how it worked out. Rez is the person that you could kind of tell is going to be steering the ship. I know that people always talk about my wife and him and their relationship, which is cool. They touched on it, but you don't really get that yet in the first episode. You get
Right.
that they know each other a long time, but you don't necessarily get their closeness in that episode, my opinion. But who do you feel like, who was your favorite character that came out of that first episode? Who couldn't you wait to see again?
Um, I mean, it's so hard for me to say because I love who I love now, 10 years later,
Mm-hmm.
more than 10 years later. But just that episode, I think I knew then I could relate most to MJ,
Okay.
loved her, but for the entertainment value, I couldn't wait to hear what Reza said next. I
Okay.
mean, see, to me, Reza's got a personality like if you're having a party and you're not sure who's going to come, you say, "Oh, Reza will be there." He's the clickbait to get other people to come to the party. Even if you don't like the guy or what he says, he's entertaining. So he was very entertaining that episode 1. I know so much now.
Yeah,
That's
but
not my answer today,
that's the other element of it. That's
but episode 1.
the
Yeah.
they they are all victims of arrested development, because each one of, even just in the first episode, they're all kind of in the same spot that they were in that episode. I mean, they might have done other things and whatever, but I'm talking, as a person and who they are, I still like Mike is still kind of bragging to everybody how great he is and everything he does, and everything he does leads to other better things. And he's still out there flirting and being a playboy.
Right.
Gigi's still,
Oh,
I don't
it's
care how
a
much pot she
pattern with Mike.
smokes, she's still ready to fucking fight. And everybody, someone
Right.
crosses a line and says something she don't like, she's still ready to throw down. Asa, to me, came out the worst in the episode. Like, I haven't
Per
seen Asa in a while, but it was like, that's why I haven't.
Persian Yoko Ono is
Yeah,
how she
that's why I
came.
haven't. She had fucking Yoko who broke up the Beatles, bro. You know?
She was like, I mean, the whole like kind of bad music. Go
Yeah, don't
ahead,
tell like you're
Google.
driving around in a Benz, bro. Don't tell me how all the other Persians like
Oh,
opulence so much. Meanwhile, and again, we'll
wait,
get into other things on the pod as things kind of come out. But
right.
yeah,
But I can't believe how on point we are with our take on this because here's my note on Asa. she makes this big point that she isn't materialistic versus her crew and all the Persians in LA. Oh, they love clothes and bags, but she gets out of a limo, she drives a Mercedes, she's dripping in jewelry. It's like, again, Yoko Ono,
And she
married
talks
to
it.
John Lennon,
Yeah, she
trying
talks
to
that
come off as a flower child that doesn't have
yeah.
money or doesn't care about things, but she does.
Meanwhile, her, like, from the entrance point of the show, all she was trying to do was figure out something to make money from the show. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it's like, I'm not materialistic. I won't ever do anything for money. It's like, bitch, that's all you did was try to get things from, was trying to make, which, look, I respect. I respect. I've told this
Yeah.
about my wife. Like this, to just go on reality television, to just be on reality TV, to me is a level of vapidness. It's a level of, you just want to be the center of attention, like Mike said. They're all characters like that, that's what they're looking for first. Where me, I'm like, how can we make some money from this? Because this might not last forever. And if I'm going to do certain things or show certain things, it's going to be very difficult for Mike, for example, to now go get a regular job. It's going to be difficult, dude. All his warts are out there, and it's a Google search. Nowadays, that's one of the first things they do when you do go do a job interview is they look you up, and he's got a whole thing of bad press. So, like, while you're there, try and get and extract as much juice from it as you can. So I respect that, but don't be glib about it. Don't make it seem like that's not what's really going on. Like she did that. Oh, I love my music, because she thought she was going to fucking be Madonna. And she wasn't, because you could tell the talent really didn't, the juice wasn't worth the squeeze, dude. So.
And again,
That wasn't about her music. That was her thinking like, oh, I'll be a music star from this show. And it's just,
And I mean, I definitely got that from episode 1, but I can't unknow what I know. That theme continues, and it's not a bad thing. Just own it.
Yeah, it's not a just bad thing. Own it. Just
make
own
the
it.
Caftans, make the diamond water, but own
it.
And
the second the Caftans worked,
and comfortable.
The Captain was the first thing she did that worked, and it held on. She still has a store. They're still buying them. God bless you. But don't make it seem like the show one didn't allow that to happen, because that's the only reason it was able to happen. Right. And don't act like that wasn't your exit strategy from the second you got on. That's fantastic. That's great. But she kind of has this holier than thou. And like, I'll read that about her. Like I'll read that from people like you that watch the show and like, are in the chat rooms or whatever. Yeah. And I get it now. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I know her, and we had a season where we shot together, and I always kind of got it, but like, I really get it now. Like, I get it that she kind of stepped on the scene with that, she was better than everyone. Not judgment. Meanwhile, she's the most judgmental person there. Like, I don't want to judge, but she's literally labeled and judged everybody in her vicinity. So she was the one that kind of, from the first one, where it's like, I wasn't, but Gigi also, I don't know if this is nice to say, or I don't mean to be that, but she had a lot of work done. Like that was the first thing that struck me out with Gigi, was like, that doesn't look like the same person that I've seen. Not that I've seen Gigi recently, but I'm just saying, like the person that the Gigi I know, or the Gigi I've filmed with, the Gigi that's been 2 feet from my face, that doesn't look like the same person. That was just one of the things that kind of struck me.
Okay.
But the rest of her attitude is very Gigi. And, even now to this day, and I respect the hell out of that too.
Authentic badass.
Yeah, no, I respect the fact that she was there, and she, I'm sure, again, it goes back to you not having the reference point of anybody else, right? Because you're pioneers at this point. And I'm sure when they cast her, there was an element of, we like that badass, don't lose that. And other people might, you know what I mean? Like, I have friends like
I'm
Sherman.
Sure that was encouraged, right?
Sherman is a different dude on camera than when he is walking around regularly. He's very guarded on camera. He wants to put out a good representation. He wants to be a good Persian. That's all well and good. my point is with Gigi, they told her what worked, and she stuck to it. You know,
And
she
she,
was
yeah,
herself. That's who she
she
is.
ran with it.
Yeah, that's who she is, and she ran with it for sure. But like that
Um,
other guy that's sitting at the table with them, that Persian guy, like he never he didn't last because he was supposed to be a cast member. And that
I
didn't
didn't
last. I
get
don't know
his,
his name. I just know
well,
he
I
didn't.
didn't get his name
Yeah,
either.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
So
I
that's
was
that part's
watching it
funny.
thinking, who is that?
That part's funny where it's like, oh yeah, that because I only know because like things my wife has told me, and you know she's got what do you call it, like magazine covers and signs from like the first season and shit
Yeah.
that they like she's framed and whatever. It's like, who's that guy? You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, that guy didn't make it. You know, um, but another interesting thing is when my wife goes wedding dress shopping and she's let's just say she's not on board with
Yeah.
marriage as an institution at all. And it's funny because we're married now. You know, we've been together 10 years in August, and we'll be married for, you know, Sham's gonna be 5, so we'll get married 6 years. We just had our 5th. No, we just had our 6th. Yeah, because he's 5. So we just had our 6-year anniversary. So to hear her say it, like the taste that she has for it, it's just, it's funny. And even funny story, a little behind the curtain, the woman that they were doing that with is divorced.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh my, oh
Yeah.
wow. I
Yeah.
never saw her again that I recall
Yeah. I've
anyways,
never met her.
but
I've never met her. And I
well,
only found I asked her, because I'm watching it, and the other she'll get mad. I can't remember her name right now, but the other woman that's in it is still
in
very
the
much my
scene.
wife's friend. She's still
Oh,
no in
cool.
that scene. Yeah, in that
Yeah.
scene, the other one that they're dress shopping with is still very much my wife's friend. She's got kids. She moved to Texas, but they talk a lot. She was at our wedding. So I knew
And
her. So
MJ
like,
did say marriage equals divorce.
yes. So when I'm watching it, I'm like, I don't know who this lady, you know, she's in the bridal party, you know, like I've been together with the 10 years. I should know who this person was, you know, I'm like, who's this lady? And she's like, yeah, no, we don't really speak anymore. I'm like, are they still married? She's like, no. Like, oh, that's funny. So for
Well,
those out there
you
listening,
know,
they did not live
she's
happily ever after.
definitely unapologetically jaded and completely disinterested in marriage at that point,
And, and I think
for
with the
sure.
little bit that you meet Vita, just in that little bit, I think you get an idea as to why that might be. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like I think you get
Yes.
a little bit of a taste. Um, you know, and again, from my vantage point, like Vita calls my wife every day, you know, and if my wife will do whatever she can to take that phone call, you know. So you knowing that relationship, so knowing that's in your ear all the time, always, it's kind of hard not to become jaded towards it, you know. So I
Yes.
can see how
Yes.
that happened.
Well, we see in episode 1 that Vita definitely comes straight through the front door. There is,
I'll
you
tell you
never have
something
to
else, not to steal
guess
your
what she
thunder,
means or
but
what she's thinking.
that's a great point. Vita, so if you had to tell me who was bent, who knew the assignment of what's supposed to go down on a reality television show, Reza, like in his blood. Vita's a very, very close second place, dude.
Yes.
Very close
Yes.
second place. And unlike Reza, who I'm sure, you know, any type of reality TV that was out at that point, I'm sure he was watching, especially once he knew he was going to be on a reality TV show. Vita doesn't.
And I
That's
think,
just instinct with her, and she had a very good
yeah.
instinct.
And episode 1, right, pretty much, I think it was right when we met Vita, she comes off with, I don't know, the comment about how MJ looked like she was a peasant girl
Yeah,
from a village in
from the
Iran.
village behind
And
the. Yeah,
I'm like, what did she say? I rewound. I'm like,
yeah,
did I hear peasant girl? I'm like,
yeah,
yeah, that's what she
yeah,
said.
yeah,
Damn.
yeah. And then telling her to go change when it's her, Sammy, and my wife. You know, like, who are you changing for? She says, but that's because she knows this is going to be on TV and you shouldn't look like that on television because
Right.
that's her mantra. Like her mantra, her in her mind, like I'll argue with her about that all the
Right.
time. She thinks that you have to be gorgeous and you have to be good looking to be on the show. And I'm like she'll tell me I need to lose weight. You know what I mean? And it's like, King of Queens is one of your favorite show. Doug is no
It is.
Adonis, and she'll get tripped up because she doesn't know what to say there. Because in her mind, like I said, you have to be gorgeous. You have to look the best that you could look because she
Right.
doesn't want to see anything else, But it's like not everybody's like you, Vita. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
but
Right.
you definitely can see how
Uh,
she dominates a conversation from the get. From the get.
oh yeah.
It was also
I
good to see
rewind.
my wife with the
I
dogs.
rewind the most with the stuff that Vita says. I have to hear it again. Like rewind it just to make sure
Yeah, was
I
that
heard what I thought I
was that
heard.
was that as cunty as that just sounded? Was that what did I hear that
That
right?
was funny.
Did I hear that
I
right?
also thought this is what about MJ, what I think is so funny too. Just the way she is with the dogs,
Yeah,
oh,
she's a cartoon
they go
character.
to the spa, they take yoga. Julio voted in the last election. Like she's immediately funny.
But it's not just that.
But
This
she's
is
not the
who
mean girl in
but this
episode
is
one,
who
though.
she is. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
again, if they never called her up and said we're thinking about filming a reality show, the dog still got the Facebook page. You know what I mean? The dogs are still
Yeah.
going to the hotel. Like that's just who she is. And that's why I love her because she's never not been who she is.
Yeah.
TV, Schmeevy, it doesn't fucking matter. That's who she
She's
is.
been
That's why to
authentic.
me, she should be more than anybody else on that network. She should be on television because
Yeah.
it doesn't change who she is at all. She's still going to be who she is. And who she is fucking hilarious, dude. Just watching her go about and walking, fumble and tumble through life. She's like I said, it's like watching a cartoon character.
Oh, the irony is like she's funny sometimes like that, but she is like so smart. She's an
Yeah,
incredibly smart,
absolutely.
smart person. You don't find that out about her episode one. She's authentic, she's funny, she's got some edge to her, she's interesting. You want to see her again for sure. Episode one, I mean, like over time, you realize like she's pretty damn brilliant. Like she's a smart girl.
Yeah, she's
She's
definitely a
very
smart
smart.
cookie. One of the things that I know that I'm not gonna like, and again, this is when I got on the show. It's different when you're dating, right? Now I'm married. I have my son with her, so I like it's one of the reasons that I've had reservations about doing a rewatch because I know there's going to be things where it's going to be like, when we met, I would just laugh at, but now as a husband and as a father to her son, it's going to be like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? And one of the things I could tell that I'm not going to like is my wife. You could see it in the first episode when they're kind of at the pool party and they're all sitting around in judgment and being catty that everybody at the party, well, Rez is kind of leading it about this one's ugly, that one's she's not like that, dude. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? She's not, but she will get like that. If people are getting muddy, she'll get in the dirt, and she's not,
Well,
from a
right.
day to
She
day
didn't.
she's not like that. So that's just one of the things I know that it's going to be like, I could see because again,
So I
I've
have a
also heard
question for
the people that don't like MJ, right? Because there's a lot of them out there too that don't like her, and the
who
things
are
they
they?
don't like about her, I could tell I'm going to see, and I know that they're probably going to annoy me a little bit too.
I'll be annoyed too.
Yeah, yeah.
So my question for you is, are you sure you're prepared to do this? I mean,
Yes,
I
yes.
it could be very difficult.
Well, but let's put it this way: that I want to see this shit before my son sees it, because he's definitely going to come a day and time he's going to see it. And I don't
Good
want us to
point.
be watching it together for the first time either. I'd rather have a little bit of a chain of reference. And I know, like I said, I ate my wife's ass on television. You know what I'm saying? I know.
You did.
Yeah, yeah. So I know, like, I'm not trying to sit on a perch and be judgmental either. And what's done is done. Well, it's, all these things have happened already, a long time ago. So I can't kind of hold ill will about something she said on a show from fucking, 20 years ago or
Oh,
whatever
right.
it was.
People evolve. I mean, honestly, from 2012 to 2024, I mean, like a 180, really.
You'd
So
think,
you
but
have
there's
to
a
keep
lot
that
of,
in mind.
but that's the thing. A lot of it is like Mike's still the same fucking dude. You know what I mean? Like Mike's still the same guy.
No
Oh, Rez is still the
growth.
same fucking guy. You know what I mean? Like
Like,
there are a
right.
lot of there was a lot of, and again, it's not just to pass immediate judgment. I'm just looking at a snapshot of the show I just saw or that I'm watching, and then it's like fast forward to what I know now. And a lot of it
Well,
is still kind of the same. You know what I mean? Mike's still a mama's boy that everybody kind of tells him, you're the best, Mike. And it's all about, looking like the best, not really showing any weaknesses, not being very vulnerable. Reza is,
well, Mike, I feel like, so what first struck me about Mike, I mean, he's very handsome. I mean, you want to talk like he could be a robot or something. When I first saw Mike, I thought he was kind of like ethnically ambiguous. It's like,
yeah,
is
he could
he
be Puerto
from the Jersey?
Rican.
Yeah,
He
is
could
he
be
from the Jersey
Dominican. He could be, yeah,
Shore?
he could be
Is
Italian.
he a Latin pop star? Like,
Yeah,
I
he could
mean,
be. You're right. He could be anything. He could be
he
anything. Not
really
white,
is.
obviously, but he could anything
Right,
like straight from
right.
Italy, straight from Spain, straight from Iran, whatever. He could be anything. And if you don't really have a lot of experience per se with Persians, because I don't, I'm from New York, and in New York there really are no Persians. No, it's like everybody's a melting pot, right? So it's not like you don't really have that Persian representation. The person will tell you they're from Iran. They won't tell you that they're Persian. That's a very LA thing to me. I could be mistaken. Maybe in other places, other parts of the country, they do have a Persian community like that, but I didn't feel like that in New York. So, like, Persian to me was a foreign thing until I moved out here. Then it's everywhere, especially like where I worked when I first moved out here, and one of the places I would frequent, there was a lot of Persians, and so Mike doesn't fit that mold of a lot of the other Persians I would see. He's much more, as you said, um, like he could kind of be anything.
Yeah. I mean, he could like sub for Enrique Iglesias, like on
Yeah,
stage. I mean, you
yeah,
just don't know,
yeah,
you don't know what his
yeah,
ethnic background is, right?
yeah.
Um, but he definitely made Gigi work for it, episode one. Like
Hmm.
he was definitely like if I forget her name, Lana in the pool. Like
Yeah,
he was enjoying making Gigi jealous for sure.
yeah. And
And
I only
and
know,
she was.
again from this is some behind the velvet rope type things, but um Layla and Mike dated, and Gigi was always kind of like a third wheel that was a young girl. So I understand where, if you date a girl and then the sister is like a little girl, it's hard to then get attracted to her as she develops into a woman, right? Because like
You're always going to see her as a
you
little
still
girl.
see the little girl, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I think there's an element of that
Yeah.
with Mike, and I also think there's an element with Gigi where she's trying to show that I'm not that little girl anymore, right?
Right.
That I'm grown up. But it also, like, that's one of the things that frustrates me, especially, you know, a lot of Gigi is full of shit. Now I don't mean her attitude and like how she is, but like that I was around guns my whole life. Meanwhile, she couldn't shoot a gun. You know what I mean? It's like there's an over exaggeration that comes from Gigi sometimes that she gets protected from in the edit. You know what I mean? Where
Okay.
it's like the, and I don't want to get too far ahead, but like when she did that weed present, they set that all up for her, dude. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And she dropped the ball completely because she didn't do anything towards it. So like even now, I own 3 companies and I have this. I know you fucking don't, dude. You know what I mean? Like let's sit down. Let's talk about what a business plan would look like. You know what I mean? Well, let me ask you some questions about your business plan that you never wrote. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like it's little things like that to kind of. But I get it. It's reality television. It's all of it. You got to kind of take with a little bit of a grain of salt. That being said, this show is definitely realer than any of the other reality TV shows that I know about or like that exist.
A
They're
hundred
definitely,
percent.
yeah.
I I I want to go back to the pool party. Um, Couple things like, I mean, obviously, I I don't know how to put it. Like Reza and Gigi were kind of like tied for Regina George and Mean Girls, like
Okay. Yep.
winning that award.
Yep.
But um just like all that stuff about the people looked like they were hit with an ugly stick and
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, like
Yeah.
that was like, okay, you just think those things, you don't say those things, but
Yeah.
they say those things.
And it's not
They
just that. Like, listen, man, if you could be funny, funny to me is funny. Now, obviously, it's subjective as well. What I think is funny might not everybody think is funny. So, like that being said, I still think if you're trying to be funny, there's an effort there to be funny. But if you're just trying to be mean, like that's
funny
just
at other
mean.
people's expense.
Yeah, that's not funny. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like if you say something witty, I'd be the first. But if it's just like she got hit with an ugly stick, that's very juvenile to me. It's very like, third gradish. And, but again, man, teach their own. I don't necessarily find that funny. I think that it's more childish, but I think that that's the other part of why there's a fascination with them. Because again, you know, going back to Jersey Shore was the impetus for a lot of these shows. But Jersey Shore, when that was popular, especially when it first hit off, they were all in their early 20s. They were kids, but these
Oh
are
yeah.
like these people are all middle aged, dude. So like to watch them still be catty like that, it's like to me, it's funny. It's like that's funny. It's not what he said. It's not that they're picking on the people. That's not what's funny. It's the fact that these people are fucking 35 and up talking like this at a pool party. That's funny to me.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
like they were in a whole different decade of life, but still
Yes.
behaving like the Jersey
Like
Shore
they were in Beverly High School.
crew in their 20s.
Yeah, and they all know each other from high school, so I would imagine this is how they were in high school, and they
Oh,
haven't
like the
evolved
whole
from it.
Beverly High. It reminded me of like a Persian 90210
Yeah, man.
when they were
Yeah.
saying that.
Yeah, yeah. Where they
But
last you saw these people, they were all at the Peach Pit, right? And then they pick up later in life, and they still have the same, I guess because that's how they gravitate back to or whatever. But like I said, it was just like, you know, like I said, I don't necessarily find it witty or funny. I was laughing more at them than with them. That's the best way to put it.
I think Gigi well, I don't know how old she was, but because they
She's the
focused on,
youngest. She's the
I was,
youngest.
she looked very young to
Yeah,
me.
she's the youngest. And again,
She
Layla's
was
the
trying
older
to
sister.
prove almost like her womanhood, her sexuality.
Yeah.
I think she was coming into all that
Yeah, she was the
a little
youngest
bit.
when the show started. Like I said,
Yeah.
Layla's the older sister. Layla actually fits more in with the rest of the group dynamic. She's friends with
Yes.
Sammy. She became friends with my wife more or less through the show. But with Mike, she knew them all. Gigi was the younger sister, but I think when you do a little bit of the casting, Gigi was kind of the more interesting one because Layla's always worked. She's hustled. She's done her own thing. Gigi was still being supported by her father, so I think that she was more, that's who they wanted to track. But she was definitely younger than everybody else.
So, Mike, most of the things that I have to say about Mike, I can't even really say this episode because his pattern
Yeah, that's what it
doesn't
is.
de- doesn't
That,
develop yet.
but that's also what
Like,
it is too. Like you see Mike, and you want to talk so much about the other things that you know that has happened to Mike because it's like it all stems from like you could see how his tree
right.
grew. You know what I mean? Because it's like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
look, that's how he is. So
Because
yeah,
part of his futuristic pattern, just a part of the pattern is when he feels remorse and discovers the error of his ways, and your heart really goes out to him, and then boom, door falls out again. But I can't speak on him. All I have on him this episode is girl crazy, extremely into sex and girls. Um, actually, all the Persian guys. Um, just his ethnically ambiguous look, gorgeous. I mean, beautiful teeth, beautiful smile, beautiful hair. I mean, like he was built in a laboratory. Um, he comes off as confident in this episode.
yes,
Mama's boy, like I was thinking, does she iron his underwear? I don't know, like
yeah,
just
yeah.
just extremely, loves his mom, nothing wrong with that.
No, no,
I For me, this episode, there's no like or dislike with him. I don't get to know him yet.
yeah, yeah. I
That
don't.
was my take on him.
I think the only people from this episode that you kind of get a little bit of, you know, um, a look into what you can expect from watching the show are Reza and Gigi. Believe it or not, Asa too, but I don't like
And
what Asa's putting down. Let's just put it that way. I think you get an idea of what she's going
yeah,
to be about, but it's like I don't know if I'm interested. I'm going to be in watching that because again, I don't
but
believe much of it.
there is a glimpse with MJ too, though, because of the mother-daughter dynamic.
Very true.
You
That's
you
very true.
do you do definitely realize there's stuff there that we're gonna see.
Yeah, with MJ, to me, it's more like I don't want to say I'm interested in watching her because again, like she's like a cartoon character to me, but I don't necessarily know if there's depth behind that yet in the first episode. But like what you said, it's very true. That's a salient point about her mother. Like there's got to be something there because what she just say?
Yeah.
She looked like a peasant.
It,
You know what I
it
mean?
was it
Like,
was it was like a teaser.
yeah,
It was like and then she's telling her to wear skinny jeans and like what to wear.
yes,
Um,
yes, yes. And you could just see that, like, that for the 2 or 3 hours that they're together, whenever they're together, it's just that. It's just
yeah.
relentless of you need to do this with your hair. You shouldn't be wearing that shirt. Well, how come Julio was wearing that collar? And you know what I mean? It's just one criticism after another. And it's like, that's intense to have to sit through, you know? Uh,
Right.
but I see like again, it's parts of my life too that I like. She just left. Vita just left, and that's what went down for 3 days. You know what I mean? But the good thing is she's not like that with Shams. Shams can really kind of do whatever he wants. She doesn't. The only thing she ever wants to do is feed him and put some clothes on him because she thinks he's always cold. Meanwhile, it's summer. She had a sweatshirt on him today. Um,
Vita never expected to fall in love with her. Like the
oh,
thought of
100%.
grandchildren,
A hundred
like
percent.
I think the relationship took her totally by
Yeah,
surprise.
no,
Like the deep love.
she said,
Yeah.
and I quote, I never expected to love him this much. Like she
Oh,
definitely had no idea that she was going to be into it. She's on record. The last kid, the last baby that she picked up was MJ. Like it wasn't for
oh,
her. It's just,
okay.
and I think that she's downloading that on MJ her whole life that it's not for you because it wasn't for me.
Because
Meanwhile,
yeah,
it's just that's just not for Vita. It doesn't mean it wasn't for everybody. So I think that
exactly.
But unfortunately, uh, I know there's going to be a lot of that early on because we already see the
Yeah.
coming scenes for the next week when she talks about you're not marriage material. So I know that's coming, and I feel for my
Ouch.
wife because it's got to be tough.
Like, ouch.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so I know we're kind of hopping around a lot, but I don't want to forget to say there's something else I noticed about Sammy. So his very kind, just nice guy personality, even his voice is very soft. Um, the party he threw didn't match who I saw. Like a party with like, I don't know, girls from catalogs and
Yeah,
like
yeah.
tigers, like that just is a party Reza would throw. The party he had, it was almost like and I don't know him from a hole in the wall, right? I could be dead wrong. But in my mind, he didn't throw that party.
Well, I
Did
definitely
he?
think
I mean,
there's.
or is there a side to him that we just didn't see?
Well, Sammy is definitely someone to throw parties. He's definitely someone
Okay.
that would like to have people over. He's definitely like that part of what he was talking about. Like
No, but
he doesn't want to
that
be
wild,
alone. He doesn't want.
crazy party.
But the opulence of that, again, that's production, dude. That's
Okay.
production for a reality television
Okay.
show that's about these Persian kids that are supposed to be millionaires. So that like that to me is more them than him. But he definitely
Okay.
has those parties. There's definitely going to be a kebab there. There's definitely going to be some DJs. Um, but yeah, a tiger. I've been to a bunch of Persian parties, and I haven't seen any tigers at any other parties when there's no cameras. Let's just put
I
it
mean,
that way.
right. I mean, even like this whole I believe he is a nice guy. He was very believable. That was the vibe that I got. What else did he say? He said something about how he was like, you know, oh my God, it's 2012. Like, Persian Jews, Persian Christians, Persian Muslims. Like, can't we all get along? Like, you could see he's like a peaceful guy. Like, he's a
Yes.
nice guy.
I'll
He's a
tell you
nice
what
man.
Sammy does. Sammy puts people together, dude. You know what I mean? Like if you are in the dry cleaning business, let's just say, and then you're in the you do movie like wardrobe,
Yeah.
like he put you together. You know what I mean? Like, yo, you
I
could
mean, I
help
could
him
see
and
that.
he could help you. You guys should talk. He'll do that with all of
That's
his
totally
friends.
believable.
That's why he had so many people at his wedding when he got married because
Aw.
he's very thoughtful like that, and he really will go out of his way to help you, and then in turn also help another one of his friends. You know what I mean? Like
And
if he
that's why
feels.
MJ and you are his friend
Yes, that's why he's
because you're
friends with
like
all of
that.
these people because he's very
Yeah.
much like that. Like I said, I felt like, you know, he was trying to be a little too cool for school on TV, than kind of just being a little bit more of the cool Sammy that we know, or at least again, because I only know he wasn't there after season one, and stories that I've been told about why. I'm willing to bet that I'm going to see those as we watch these episodes and be like, what are you doing, Sammy? That's no reason for that, man. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
we'll see. But yeah, I'll tell
I
you,
don't know.
after
Like,
watching the first episode, I could see why people tuned in because it's new. It's not something. Now, again, a lot has come place, in the last 10 years, but I'm just trying to put myself in that moment in time. And that moment in time, it's interesting to see these Persians on television because there was never anything like that.
right.
Whether it
Well,
be
first,
Indians, whether it be Pakistanis,
yeah,
whether it be Iraqi, doesn't matter. There was never really anything like that where you went down the rabbit hole of someone's real ethnicity and
right.
then explore from out. And that part was cool.
I I actually learned a lot. And again, I'm speaking in hindsight, 10 years. I've
Yeah.
watched the show multiple times. So, yeah, I'll save that for another time. Um, I'm trying to stick to this episode. Um, just interesting stuff about the Iranian culture, because I don't think that the Persian culture is a culture that most Americans knew a lot about.
Definitely.
And the takeaway is I loved that it was just this great interpretation of like just everyday Persians living their best life. Um, maybe they have a little more money than other people, or maybe a little less, whatever. They were just like living their lives. And the takeaway was we're we're all the same, really. Like we're all
Yeah.
essentially the same in terms of just the people of a culture versus like governments. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I
Yes.
loved seeing that. I just loved it.
Well,
So
listen, I think that, especially you fast forward to today and like, between cancel culture and, all the other things that go on, like there's people I think are a lot more neutered in conversation,
yeah,
and the way they feel kind of reserved. They might not say the things that they really feel. And I think that, even the conversation when they were having with the Jews or Muslims and the married, like they were having a conversation on television amongst a tribe that they could, like, you could put that on today and no one could say shit because it's real to them, right?
yeah,
Like they can, like that's a
exactly. They can
conversation.
they can speak on it.
Yes, they
Right.
could speak on
It's
it, and I'm curious to see what you think on it. You know what I mean? So I
right.
thought that by them having those conversations were really, like there's a reason that the country has moved in directions, and part of it is because we were having conversations like that back then. So it was cool to see that. It was cool to,
Yes.
like, because I also I've been in enough Persian functions. Like that's not a normal conversation, dude. Like they're not sitting around there. Are you Muslim? Are you Jewish? Like
Oh,
that's not
right,
how they
right,
normally talk. So I know
right.
that they were trying to have that conversation, to do it on camera. And whoever was producing the episode, I thought that was a good idea to have.
Yeah,
Even Vita with MJ, because I promise you, all the other Persian mothers are not Vita. They all want their kid to get married. They all want their kid to, become a professional. They want grandkids. They want all that shit. And she is the minority. But I think that they did a good job
exactly, for
of,
sure. That was all born of her, you know, whatever her bad experience was.
yeah, and
Right.
they'll get to that, I'm sure. But I thought
Yeah.
that was it was a good touchstone to get that right away, because you kind of, you don't see Asa's parents, you don't see Rez's parents, you don't see Gigi's parents in this episode. In this
Right.
episode, they're
Not
all
yet.
coming. They're all coming,
Yes.
but the one you see is Vita, because she's so far out of the norm that I'm sure they were like, this fucking lady's nuts. You know what I mean? Especially when you
She
sit down
is
with some of
good
these
for
other people and their
TV.
families. When you
Yeah.
sit down with their families, you see how inviting and how the Persians are, like, welcome in. Can I make you some food? Like, it's all very much different. She's the antithesis of that in a lot of ways. She's also very Persian in a lot of ways. So it's an interesting dichotomy, and I think they did a good job of bringing you into her and that right away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh,
All right, kiddo, you got
it
it.
was
I think
good.
we did a great job. I think we ripped this thing apart. I'm interested to see what comes next. I'm sure you'll be back for one of our future episodes as well. You got anything
Oh,
else you want to say before we get out of here?
that would be awesome. Yeah, I'm actually curious what episode you're going to pick next. I mean, you're not
Two.
going
We're going in order. I'm going in order.
really.
Yeah, next episode's episode 2. We're going in order. Going to watch the whole show.
That could take the rest of our lives.
Good.
Do
It
you
could.
do you realize that many of the seasons have like 18 episodes?
Well, no, the first season, I think, is only 6, maybe 8.
Six.
6.
Every
That was just to
six.
get picked up, and then the
Every
next.
other one has a ton.
Yeah, well, no, I think the most they ever have is 18, including the
That's a
reunions.
lot.
It's a lot, but it will give us something to talk about. It will definitely give us
Right.
something to talk about, something to cover,
Right.
something to do. We'll never run out of the information. And
Well,
yeah,
when
right
does
now,
when
go
like
ahead.
when are I listen to Till the Dirt, that comes out every Monday. So when will this
I
when do you
think
want the recaps to come out?
because I'm based. This is basically my passion project kind of goes. So I'm doing all the editing. I'm doing all the things for it. So I gotta, I have other things that I have to do as far as work is concerned. This is more of like a side thing. So I just got to see how long it takes me to get an idea. But I'm
Oh, okay.
thinking that it'll probably be Friday. So Friday this would
Oh,
come
okay.
out, and then Monday new episodes until the dirt would come out. But that's what I'm shooting for. I just don't know how long this is going to take me to edit yet. And again, we're
Right.
keeping it on the same feed so that I don't have to create any cover art or set up
Perfect.
any hosting or do any of the other things that go into creating a podcast, which is there's a
Yes.
lot. So I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible. So yeah, my hope would be like today's Tuesday. I'm hoping that I could have this out and ready to go on our feed by Friday. That's the hope.
Okay.
That's the hope. But I'm gonna get
Well,
you'll have it first.
I had so much
I
fun.
had fun with you too, Lisa.
Um,
I could tell how much you love this shit, and I think that it's great to talk with someone that has that type of that has that type of care.
I do. And I really, you have to tell my girl how much I love her.
Oh, 100%. She knows. And we love you too, Lisa. Believe me, the show would never, we only know each other because
Aw,
of the show. So I'm forever
right.
grateful for Shahs. I'm grateful for you. I think this was great. And,
It's surreal for me.
yeah,
So it's
awesome.
really, really cool. And this is, I'll just leave you with this. This is 100% legit. You'll see that MJ dates several people. I didn't like anybody until you came on, and I went, he's not fitting like the Persian mold, but I like this guy. I'm like, I like him for her.
Awesome.
You were
Awesome.
honest to God, the first guy that I liked for her.
I thank
Yep.
you, Lisa. I appreciate you very much. And this was
I
great.
appreciate you guys.
Yes. And we love you, kiddo. You have a great rest of your day. Bye
Bye.
bye.